Welcome back. It's our big story this time, and a decision has sparked intense discussions across Nigeria's transportation and oil sector. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has announced a nationwide ban on 60,000-litre capacity fuel tankers from operating on highways effective 1st of March. This move follows a disturbing rise in fatal fuel tanker accidents, devastating incidents, and have claimed lives, destroyed properties, and left communities grappling with trauma. But while safety is the clear priority, this decision has raised questions about the ripple effects on fuel distribution, transportation cost, and the broader economy.
Will this ban improve road safety without causing fuel scarcity or increased pump prices? And what support exists for transport operators and fuel marketers who now need to adjust their logistics? Joining us to break down this and more are two key voices. But first, joining us is Ukadike Chinedu, is the National Publicity Secretary of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN. Mr. Ukadike, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you for joining us this morning, and good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, and good morning, Nigeria.
Yes. Let's start with your thoughts on this ban and how it will affect fuel supply and even supply chain as well, especially with the removal of such large capacity tankers from operation.
Well, it's a government policy, but I also want to correct an impression here that that resolution that was announced by NMDPRA was a stakeholders agreement. It was in a meeting where some issues about origin and transportation of petroleum products, stakeholders emerged and resolved that 60,000 capacity tankers should stop flying the roads on the 1st of March. So it was a stakeholders resolution. It is not by NMDPRA. NMDPRA was just used as an authority in the industry to, convey the meeting and the resolution of all the stakeholders. And I also want to let you know that all the stakeholders, including NARTO, IPMAN, Petroleum, IPMAN, NEMAN, police, everybody, including the authority, they are all there, and they painstakingly took time to be able to analyze the effects of this decision, and the gains thereof. So that is that. And for the question you just asked, the effects of this ban, yeah, definitely, it's going to affect distribution of petroleum products, but the effect might not be felt so much because there are also other tankers that have capacity of 45,000 liters and even 50,000 that government have allowed to fly the roads. So those tankers will continue to operate until maybe the ones that have been banned, maybe they will reconstruct it to be able to carry 45,000 capacity. So that is the issue for us.
I would please like you to state once again the stakeholders that were involved in this decision.
Well, the stakeholders that are involved in this decision was born out of constant road accidents, burning of trucks, and other related issue about the saving of lives and property of Nigeria.
So who are they?
Recall.
Who are these stakeholders? If you can mention them once again, please.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The stakeholders that are involved. NMDPRA was in the meeting. NATO was also in the meeting. IPMAN was in the meeting. MEMAN was in that meeting. Petroleum was in the meeting. PTD, Lupeng, they are also in that meeting. So all the stakeholders you can think about in the oil and gas industry, they are all invited to that meeting. And it's not just one single day meeting. That meeting was held maybe 3 weeks ago, before the last one that this resolution came out.
Okay.
So the meeting has been held like 1 or 2 times before they resolve that they are going to put a ban on the 60,000 liters capacity.
So, Mr. Ukadike Chinedu, now, if all the stakeholders have come together to agree that these trucks should be off the road, what consideration was given to the timeline? If 1st of March is when these transporters are supposed to make effect this decision, what time has been given to them to transition from 60,000 liter trucks to smaller trucks? Do they have the capacity? Economically for them, would they have to purchase or reconfigure their trucks or even repurchase new ones? Is this perhaps not too sudden for those who are making these products available to people in the far reaches of the country? How would that affect me, perhaps, when I'm looking for fuel to buy and there is a sort of scarcity because these marketers, or rather these transporters, are reconfiguring their trucks?
Well, this stakeholders' policy is hard, and all this you are saying now is also put into consideration. It is not easy, but for lives of Nigerians, I think no sacrifice can be able to prevent any life at all. So the issue of reconstructing that truck, that is what NARTO, that's an association that is involved in the transportation of petroleum products. That's what NARTO is also working out with federal government, because federal government need to compensate, especially independent marketers who also own trucks. So federal government need to compensate marketers to see how these trucks can be reconstructed to 45,000 liters. While our roads, new roads, because it is not about reducing the truck, it's also about maintaining the roads. All this issue about road maintenance, training of drivers, buffer zone, and all the rest of them. All these things we have all discussed extensively, and vehemently they all agree that because of stability and lack of control and overload, that these 60,000 liters should stop. They should stop flying the road. And if you look at the effect of it, actually, it is very enormous. But I think people have to make sacrifice. So federal government have to come in, like you just said, to be able to ensure that that 60,000 liters, marketers will not be at the front. It's so difficult these days to borrow money from banks and put all this truck on the road to have dividends of your investment, and one policy or the other will just come out because of bad roads. It is not with the independent marketers that build the roads, it's government that build the roads. So government should ensure that there are no potholes. Even for 5,000 liters, if there are excess potholes on the road, they will still have problems. And the distance of receiving and discharging this product is too far. Most of the drivers run like 3, 4, 5 days on the road, and they are all wearing off. So that is also what also should be put into consideration about which are the resolutions to salvage these kind of problems.
And I have to ask, right, because I'm looking at just trying to think of the logistics plan, moving from 60,000 liter tanker to something more smaller in terms of distribution. How then are you going to adjust your distribution logistics? What are the plans that can effect this ban? Is there going to be a phased out implementation of it? What would happen to those 60,000 liter tankers, in the long run? Because we have to think about, sustainability and climate change, and are they going to be dumped? Because looking at Apapa, just driving over the bridge at Apapa, those are, I don't know, in the thousands. Where would they go to? And what's the implementation looking like for logistics?
It is a very difficult decision. It's a very difficult decision, and this decision has been long for a very number of time. It has come before, and there was a pressure. Government relaxed on it, and this time around, the incessant fire and road accidents continue to reoccur, and most of the indices before NMDPRA is this large volume of trucks. Their stability on the road and the inability for some of the drivers to control them while the speed of the road is very low, and their damages are very, very very, very erroneous. So the issue before us here is how do we now compensate the owners of this 60,000, which is very, very important. The federal government, in as much as it's a policy that all stakeholders have agreed, the federal government has to come in because this is economic investment. And parking those trucks, they are fun. It is also a waste on our economy, and it will dwindle down the distribution of petroleum products, and maybe Nigerians will suffer because of it. If federal government can bring an intervention fund as quickly as possible to be able to ensure that all and take census of all these trucks and reconstruct them. There's no big deal about reconstructing them. Within 2-3 months, one of the several of those trucks will be reconstructed. The issue is also removing 10,000 liters out of the truck and reshaping it back again to carry 45,000 liters or 50,000 liters. Some of the compartments can be plugged inside so that products will not go into that place. And they are calibrated and they will still continue. So the most important thing is the volume of the product.
Well, Mr. Chinedu,
how bogus.
Mr. Chinedu, I want to think about this logically now. If we reduce the size of the tanks, these trucks still have to ply the same routes, still have to go through the same urban or village communities, and they're still prone to accidents. Why is it that the stakeholders didn't think that it might be more effective to beseech the authorities to perhaps maybe make selected routes for trucks, or at least maybe make them ply at a certain time? Perhaps remove more roadblocks from the roads, because these roadblocks themselves cause accidents because you have to meander through them, or seclude communities from their usage. Because everything you've said from before has pointed out to the roads, that they are bad. The stakeholders never talked to the authorities to say, perhaps make the roads better, wider for these trucks, or say these trucks will ply only specific routes that are, well, usable by them, wider perhaps, or freer, or they don't have curves. Why wasn't this considered? Why go straight to cutting down the size of the trucks, noting that this will take an intensive amount of time and effort and money?
Well, all this wise was also considered by the stakeholders, to be sincere and honest with you, and there was serious deliberation on it. The roads in Nigeria, we are still reconstructing them. Federal government is continuing to reconstruct all the roads. If you see the East-West road, it has taken up to 15 years. They are still on the East-West road, West road. And the texture of those roads cannot be able to carry the density of the trucks flying in. Most of these trucks, once they fly out, some of them are 90,000. And the capacity of our roads are not built to be able to sustain such heavy-duty trucks. And these heavy-duty trucks are passing once in a while. They continuously, passing through this. They move in a higher number of volume of petroleum products. So the damage they cause to the road at long is massive. So federal government cannot start now to reconstruct all the roads to be able to pile it to carry 90,000 or 60,000 capacity. So the short term of resolving this issue is to reduce the load, so that they can save the life, to reduce the tanker, so that they can save the life of the road. Now, it is not only that this issue of the road that causes signages are also part of it that causes road accidents. Long driving. Most of our drivers drive close to 600 kilometers to go and get there. No buffer zone. You will see some of these buffer zones, they created themselves. You go to Munede, you go to all these little jump yards. That is why you see the drivers, they sleep there. And when there is a driver that's not supposed to drive in the night, instead of going to a very quiet apartment to sleep, so they can be able to start sleep in the morning, you go to this Munede and find out this other little joints. And they will see that they'll take 2 or 3 bottles of beer and they will be awake. See the next morning, dancing and all the rest of them, and not enter this truck. And this is causes road accident. So that stakeholders put all this before the government. I said, a very comprehensive one-stop solar park should be built across the nation. so that tanker drivers can be able to drive into their truck, check into a small chalet hotel, refresh themselves, and maybe it's 6 a.m. or 6:30. They will move. Federal government has also agreed that no truck will drive and move in the night. Once it's 7 p.m., wherever you are, you should stop there. So the next morning you continue your movement. All these things have been said. They also have agreed that there will be training in all our depots by the petrol tanker drivers to train their drivers how to behave, to stop reckless driving, and also many other issues have been discussed. So these are the only one that is that's raising this round. Let us reduce trucks that have above 45,000 liters or above 50,000 liters to 50,000. Once your truck is 60, 70, 80, that's on trucks that are 90,000. They convey petroleum products in quantity. But the roads suffer. Both those who are using trucks and those who are using vehicles suffer the same road accident. So instead of continuing to destroy these little roads that we have, that we are managing, that the federal government is managing to maintain for us, trying to fill us up all the ports. Because if 90,000 liter capacity trucks passes anywhere you put power, it is going to break it. There's no two ways about it.
Mr. Ukadike,
so have like that trucks on the road to save the life of citizens and property of the country.
Mr. Ukadike, I mean, hopefully this might be a long-lasting solution to the challenges that the marketers and the tanker drivers and just the average Nigerian faces. But at the end of the day, will this aid in, in constant fuel supply to the nation? Will reducing it from 60,000 to lesser continue in just delivering a proper value chain in terms of delivery of fuel? We'll wait to see until then. But we want to say thank you for taking out the time. And we do hope that this is going to be a lasting solution to the issues. If not, we'll come back again to the table and still discuss ways to fine-tune this. But we want to say thank you. Chidi Ukadike, he is the National Publicity Secretary for the Independent Petroleum Marketers of Nigeria, and just joined us to give us a bit of insight on the ban of 60,000 liter trucks plowing our interstates.